All right, welcome back to Rockstar 101. His name is Brandon. He's the DJ.
His name is Shim. He is the rock star. Class is finally back in
Yes.
session. It seems like we've been on hiatus here for entirely too long, as we've both been incredibly busy. But you know what's even more interesting is the fact that every time we wrap up an episode, I'm like, oh, we're going to start doing 2 episodes a week. And it still hasn't.
It's me too. It's me too. I'm like, oh, sorry, my gear shut down. So, dude, just a sidebar, the totally dopest thing I started doing this week on my stream, all of the members of the Rebellion on the Twitch stream, on the Hollywood Rebellion Twitch stream, they wanted me to put up a donation bar so that they could buy me a proper computer to stream with, so that it stopped glitching and sounded better. And they've already raised $750. They've donated
There you go.
$750 of their own money so that I can have a better computer and more cameras, like a 3-camera setup, so they can see my guitar when I'm making music and stuff. It's really cool, yeah.
So when are we going to do one of these live on Twitch?
When I get that new computer and it can handle it. Because
Okay.
the problem is that right now I'm recording this on that computer, and if I was to push go live, it would blow out the CPU.
That's kind of how we were trying to do this.
We did one
at the beginning of the lockdown, and
it didn't work.
It just kind of kept crashing.
Yeah, because the internet glitches out. Plus, right now it's going straight to my hard drive, and then I repost it. It just fucks. It's too much. It's too much. So anyway, but how have you been, man?
Busy as hell, and I was hoping to do some more Rockstar 101s with you today, but I got delayed because apparently my kid's ballet class took about 40 minutes longer than it was supposed to today, so that was quite irritating. And I was pissed too, because I'm like, man, like I've been busy all day, quite frankly, for 2 straight weeks here where I'm barely getting any damn sleep.
Right.
And that 40 minutes really hosed up the plan here, because we were going to get 2 of these in today, but unfortunately it looks like we'll just get 1.
Said.
But we'll be able to, we'll be able to bounce back, and we'll be able to hopefully get on a more concrete schedule here. You get your new equipment.
Your kid is back in ballet classes. Things are starting to open up there. Things are starting to open up. Things starting to happen. How is everything?
It's maybe not the
Because
best.
it's been 2 weeks. So let's do a 3-minute pandemic check. All right.
All right, hold on. Let me set a timer.
Yeah, let's set a real life timer. I'll do it on my. Do you actually have a timer?
Stopwatch.
I'm gonna do it on my phone. I'm gonna actually do it. Hold on a second.
All
Timer.
right, tell me when you want to start. We're gonna do 3 minutes.
3,
go.
2,
oh,
1.
Shit. Hold on, wait.
Go.
Wait.
We're going. It's 1 second difference. Okay, so
okay.
Have they started opening up everything in your neck of the woods in El Paso? Is everything open?
Things have started to open up, but unfortunately that happened a couple of weeks ago, and now we're starting to see the spike. And it's getting to the point where the governor is now saying, ooh, maybe we shouldn't have opened up.
You think?
Like, we're going to continue to let things open, but you really should be at home. So things have started to open up.
So they're doing the same.
I mean,
they're not changing shit.
No, like the wife and I, we talked about it, because we usually order out every weekend.
Right.
Maybe once, maybe twice. And she asked me this past week, she was like, hey, is this something, like, do you want to actually go to the restaurant? And I was like, I still don't feel comfortable with that.
So now, in light of that, how do you feel about putting your daughter in ballet class? Is that different?
They're taking the proper precautions. If businesses are taking the proper precautions, and I know the people, I am significantly more confident. If I'm going to a restaurant, I don't know everybody who works there. I don't know the entire situation. That makes me a little bit more uncomfortable. I'll still order their food, but I'm not going to go into the restaurant. Like, as I was waiting for my kid, Richie, the guy that is my Krav Maga instructor, he drove by, because the Krav Maga place is right next to the ballet place. Right. So he drove by, and he and I started to catch up, because, I mean, I haven't been there in a couple of months, and he's like, do you want to come train, because we're open? And I know him. I know that they're taking the proper precautions. I know that they're doing everything that they need to do. So hopefully I'll start back to training here in about a week or so. But I mean, that's really it. Other than that, we're really not looking to leave the house. We're really not looking to go anywhere. We're still kind of staying on lockdown.
Does that mean technically the lockdown is lifted, but you're very incentivized to just stay at home?
Yes,
right.
Very much so. It's to the point, actually, as we're recording this here on Thursday, June 25th, tomorrow, Lisa, who's on the morning show, is going to be broadcasting from home, because she has been around people who have now tested positive. She got her test today, The doctor doesn't believe she caught it, but since she's been tested, he has said you need to self-isolate. So she's going to be at her house, broadcasting from her house.
All right, we've got 30 seconds left. How much longer how much longer you reckon it's going to be before things start to ease up in your neck of the woods?
2024. I don't know.
They're saying touring. They're saying straight up touring isn't scheduled to begin until mid 2021. At mid 2021. They came up with that number. All right, we got 10 seconds left.
Hold on. I've got 10 more seconds.
Okay.
I'm going to say this right now. Rage Against the Machine will be the first tour to happen after the COVID-19 pandemic, and we are going to be there, and we're going to.
Oh, time's up.
Wait for it. That's 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Yes, 3 minutes. Done. All right, cool. So
we need to start doing that more often.
Yeah, dude,
to keep us on track.
I started doing it, man. I did it on the live stream, on the Twitch Hollywood Rebellion live stream, and I was working on a song, and it was sort of sounding okay, and I was like, oh, I need to go, but I want to mix this. And I just sort of threw it up there to the chat room. I was like, oh, who thinks I can mix this in under 20 minutes? And then they were like, yeah, I bet you can't. And I said, all right, let's make it interesting.
Ooh,
and he was like, all right.
Challenge accepted.
And then so this guy, Frappuccino is his username. Frappuccino was like, I'll subscribe to your channel for a month if you can mix it in under 20 minutes. So then the timer is on. I actually have to get a timer and put it up on the screen. And it's like, and I'm mixing, and every couple of minutes I check in with Makushla, and I'm like, hey, what's my time? And he's like, 16 minutes. I'm like, okay, cool, we got to move on to the drums. Okay, cool. What's my time? 12 minutes. Fuck, got to move to the guitars. All right, and then I did it with 8 minutes to spare. I nailed the mix, or not nailed it, but like I was happy with it enough to be like, cool, I can leave it for a bit. And he subbed, and it was awesome, and it was like a 15-minute little show. It was heaps cool. So setting a time limit on stuff really helps, and it would definitely help us because we just rant and meander. We just get off on our little tangents.
We ramble a little bit. But so did you feel kind of like a bank heist movie where you only have X amount of time, dude, and you got to sit there and
it laser focuses you. It focuses you because you got no time to trim. You got to trim all the fat. Like when I'm mixing, sometimes I might be like, oh, let's stop everything and just try this idea on guitar. And instead I'm like, no time to try it. Just got to make it sound like what it originally sounded like. Don't go off on a tangent. Just get to the point. Make it sound like the drop hits, the riff sounds cool. Where's the vocal? That's the mix. Done. You know, like a Rage Against the Machine mix. Just listen to the band.
I think that's something that we should do when you get your new computer and we're able to do this live on Twitch.
Yeah,
is that we should set a time limit. We can make it 3 minutes. We can make it 5 minutes. Keep it relatively short, and we have our own topics ready to go.
Right.
But then the people in the chat can also fire off a topic. So we'll spend 3 minutes, and that's all you get.
I think that's
for the
great.
whole topic.
I think that's great.
And then we switch to a new one, and it's just, and we can call it, it's like a rapid fire session or something.
I've been talking
like
to
that.
Jamie.
Boom, 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 boom,
I've been talking to Jamie Lewis about this from thebassist.net, and he, man, and he's we talk about like this is the new, touring was the entertainment business, and shows the entertainment business. It's the same thing. It's a show. Right? And it's one thing to do a podcast and to do a hangout. I was talking to Pow about it as well because he was like, I want to do a podcast. And I was like, dude, why are you wasting your time setting up a podcast when you don't have something to drive the traffic to the podcast? You need to think of something that you're doing that makes people go, I'd like to hear more of this. What else is he talking about? You don't usually, like Joe Rogan started as a comedian. He didn't start on a podcast. You move into that sort of stuff. Every motherfucker now has everyone. Like when we started our podcast, lots of people had podcasts. Now it's like once Joe Rogan got bought up by Spotify, every guy's like, hey, welcome to Joe's Corner. Today we're going to be talking about how to get the most toothpaste out of your toothpaste tube when it's down to the bottom. And I stole that joke, by the way.
But that's the thing, is that there are podcasts that are, there are specialty podcasts for everything out there. If you're looking to buy a house, there are mortgage podcasts. There are realtor podcasts. Like, it's insane the amount that are out there. And I subscribe to a few.
Everyone does. That's the whole model is everyone subscribes to a few. Just find your people.
I go through streaks. I know when Fake Doctors, Real Friends first came on, that was the Zach Braff, Donald Faison podcast about Scrubs. All about it, but it's kind of gotten pushed to the back burner. I'll get back to it. Like it's not like I don't like it anymore. It's just other things have popped up.
This actually segues into what the fuck. There it is. I got a hair in my mouth. Anyway, This segues into a great.
I got a hair in my mouth. Name me your sex tape.
Yeah.
What?
This is a great segue into what I was going to talk about, right? So, number one, I saw a YouTube video from a guy who I started following, right? He does these great things. He's got a little community. He's got a podcast, all the usual stuff. Mm-hmm. Ex-musician, and his main vlog podcast is talking about the relevant current changes in the music business. And he did one about the massive changes that Live Nation has made to their terms and conditions. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about it?
Very briefly, not enough that I could talk intelligently about it.
Here's
the
thing.
More.
I'm just learning about this. I'm learning about the Live Nation thing, and I'm learning about the podcast, community-based YouTube vlog thing because I'm moving into it now. The thing is that I'm using all of those things as an extension of my music and my touring. I don't start with a podcast, right? I was already doing my thing for a long time. This guy, and he's great, but my criticism on it is that he made a vlog that was 15 minutes long that was very extensively about Live Nation has made all of these changes and these are the implications to live touring bands. The primary changes are every artist is taking a 20% pay cut. Right? The Live Nation has straight up said, moving forward, we're going to be offering you 20% less of what we were going to because everything's all jacked up. Everyone kind of went, fair enough, as long as you can get touring back up because you're Live Nation. Then it turned into the artist is responsible for paying for 100% of their own touring insurance. Live Nation will not be insuring their shows. If it gets canceled, we're not paying you. If it gets canceled, we're not. Insurance isn't going to be dealing with it. You've got to get your own. You got to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. Then the one that really bit people on the butt was if a show gets canceled. Normally what happens is, this has happened to me, okay? I'll show up to a gig, like we'll fly out. We'll have our expenses. This is a great example. I flew to a one-off gig at a festival in Canada. Paid, $5,000 to $8,000 for everything all combined. Travel, accommodation, the crew, the whole thing. And the gig was like a $12,000 to $15,000 gig. So we're making money. And it's one of those things where, damn, that's a $15,000 payday. You go to the effort to go to that one show. We got there, there's a storm. And the whole day we're like sitting in the trailer being like, well, they might cancel it. But we have to stay here because we signed a contract. And if they say that if we look at it and we think that it's safe to play and they say it's safe to play, it's rainy, but it's not so rainy that it's like, it's right on the edge. Mm-hmm. The deal is, if they say that you've got to play and you choose not to play, you forfeit your guarantee. You don't get paid. And that's fair enough. If they say it's now not safe enough, we have to shut the show down. It's our call. They have to pay you your full amount because you signed a contract. And they have to pay you, and you paid $8,000 to get up there. The new deal is, in that situation, if Live Nation cancels the show, if they say, it's any reason, COVID, storm, blackout, it can just be poor ticket sales. You could show up and they could say, hey, we only sold 25% of the tickets that we were planning to sell, so we're pulling the show. Live Nation only has to pay you 25% of what was actually your guarantee. They only have to give you 25%, right? Which means that now, if anything happens, you just get massively fucked. Like, you just have to fucking eat it.
So it's a gamble.
It's a massive gamble. And then so what they've done is they've said, as a result, what you do is you go ahead and you get tour insurance. And if something happens, because Live Nation knows this, right? And this is only for Live Nation tours. Live Nation is a massive part of touring and their own Ticketmaster. But there's also lots and lots of touring. There's lots of touring that doesn't go under Live Nation, right? You want to do festivals, you're going to Live Nation. You want to do clubs, bars, amphitheaters, House of Blues, you don't have to go through Live Nation. Actually, no, Live Nation owns House of Blues. That was a total brain fart. Sorry. Anyway.
Like the one example I gave.
Yeah, no, here's my point, right? You could call me an authority on this to a degree because I've lived in this business, but I'm not a touring promoter, okay? There are much more educated people to be asking about this. So this is the point that I'm getting around to. The second thing is, if this is why people freak the fuck out. This is why people fucking flipped out. If the gig gets cancelled and Live Nation pulls the gig, they pay you 25%. If you pull out for any reason, Oh, fucking typical. I get a glitch on my screen the moment that happens. It's cool. The moment that if you pull out and say, we're not doing the gig for any reason, health reasons, I'm scared I'm going to get fucking struck by lightning during this storm, you have to pay the promoter 200%, double what your guarantee was. So they have massively incentivized, like, don't you fucking cancel shows. Like, even if it gets a little rough in the future, you don't get to get cold feet.
Suck it up and do it.
Suck it up and do it. Now, it's one thing to say you don't get paid. That's fair enough. To say we're going to fucking gang rape you and say you have to pay us. So if it's a $15,000 payday for me and I go up there and it's a bit fucking dangerous and it's like, I'm like, dude, I don't want to risk this. I know that you guys haven't pulled the show yet, but I've been electrocuted on the mic before. That's happened to me and it's fucking sucks. It's like someone like tases you in the face for 1 second and it just goes through your whole body. When you're on the mic and that thing happens, it's very painful. So if there's a lightning storm and water on stage, I'm going to be like, yo, I'm not fucking playing. I'm not going to risk getting killed. And they're like, cool, you cannot play. You owe us a check for 30 grand.
Good Lord.
And that's where people are like, this is fucking bullshit. This is Live Nation taking a fucking hit. Flash forward, I called FM Management, my management company, right? And I talked to Frank, who's been a promoter for 25 years, and I said, what's this mean? And he was like, dude, it's up in the air, but it doesn't really make that big a difference to a lot of bands. If you're playing clubs and you're playing theaters, there's a million clubs that Live Nation doesn't own, and if push comes to shove and Live Nation decides they want to fuck someone, there's a bunch of other people out there that'll pay good money and not fuck you. But if you want to go and tour festivals, you know, you want to play Rock on the Range, you want to play Coachella, you're just going to have to take that deal on those days. And then you just deal with it.
Do you think that this could be something that could help a lot of those smaller venues? Because we've been talking about it.
Yes, that's exactly what
on
Frank
the morning
said.
show.
Yep.
And there are a lot of small venues. I think the number was 90% were potentially going to close permanently because of the COVID-19 pandemic, because they haven't been able to host any shows. Yeah. I mean, if Live Nation wants to go this route, I mean, depending on when you're able to have shows again, that might be something that could help save some of those smaller venues. But that's still, again, you know what? It's above my pay grade. That's just me talking out of my ass.
The thing is that it's all up in the air. And the one thing that, notice I didn't disagree with you when you said you're talking out your ass. But it's one of those things that is up in the air. But here's the thing. Here's my point. Frank from FM Management is an authority on this issue. He's been a promoter for 25 years. He knows everyone in the game. You're not going to be able to get it past him. You're not going to go, oh, I thought of something you didn't think of. So I called him, and he explained it to me. He was like, look, it's not really going to break it. Like, the whole business is fucking jacked up. This Live Nation thing, they're going to try it, and they're going to push as hard as they can until they start to lose money instead of make money, and then they'll change their game plan, and it'll be what it is. The guy whose podcast I watched, he's a guy who's been in bands for 20 years, and he's a bass player, and he's a professional musician and a session player, and now he started this he doesn't know nearly as much as Frank does, so he basically made this podcast saying his exact thing was, Live Nation has waged war on every musician in the world, and here's how. So you're going to watch it. And he's basically saying the touring business is now dead in the water because of this one move, and it's very exciting and dramatic, but it's not fucking true, right?
It's not the reality.
It's not the reality, right? So we're going back to all these motherfuckers that have got podcasts and master classes. You're only going to find a couple of people who really know what they're talking about. The rest of the people who do this, they're people that know how to set up a microphone and create a master class. They don't know how to do the thing they're fucking talking about, at least not to the level that you would normally get someone, right? Now, you've got the flip side. There are people who know what they're doing and have been doing it for 20 years. Like, let's say you get a lawyer, right? Like a lawyer. They cost a fortune, and they know they cost a fortune, and you can still get a bad lawyer. You can still get a guy that's just not very fucking good. Trust me, I know. I've seen him. And then you can get these, like, you would never go and get a masterclass on, hey, here, for $100, you can get my 10 video on how to represent yourself in court. I'll show you how to represent you. Like, you would never do that, right? You would never. There are tiers of expertise, and legal is one of them where you don't fuck around. But if you take that example to anything else that you want to learn, it still applies. Like, my wife's getting into gardening right now. She's watching a whole bunch of YouTube stuff on gardening because she's been at home a lot. She's getting into it. And it's like, well, they're master classes that come up because we're watching it on YouTube, and then someone's like, "Hey, do you want to learn how to make a garden from scratch for $250? I'll send you a bunch of videos on how to make your garden." I'm like, "Who the fuck are you? I don't know. What, you don't have a TV show. You haven't won an award for the best garden in America. You're some guy in his backyard."
Like, what are your credentials?
Yeah, what are your credentials?
And see, and that's what makes our podcast amazing is I am a professional at talking out of my ass. And that's all this is.
Right.
And so if you're looking for a masterclass on talking out of your ass,
it's going to be $1 million. $1 million for the Brandon Courts masterclass. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's going to be like, hey, you want to know how to get all these beautiful women on the boat and dance on the Caribbean like me? Learn how to talk at your ass for $995. I teach you direct. You can be rich and famous like me.
Yeah. Good Lord. Although speaking of masterclasses, this actually ties kind of in with one of the topics I was going to bring up with you briefly is my whole meditation journey.
Yeah, bring it.
That I'm on right now. So basically, I started this.
Everyone just clicked off. Everyone just stopped listening.
If they want to stick around, they can stick around because they're gonna. Okay, so let me tease this.
I respect what you're saying. I just know that it's like one of the number one. Like, oh, okay. Anyway, go.
Well, I'm not going to go too in depth in it, but I will tease this. So the thing that we're going to do to wrap up this podcast is I found a topic on Reddit. It says, without naming it, what movie plot can you describe in a way that sounds like a porno? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the description, and then Shim is going to have to guess the movie that it's describing.
Okay.
But anyway, so we're going to get to that. So all I was getting at here is, so I'm making sure I'm doing it every day. Have you heard of the Calm app?
Yeah, I've seen ads for it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's two different ones. There's Calm and there's Headspace. I've tried them both. I've really only tried Headspace for like a half of a day. I didn't like it. It wasn't really what I was looking for. But I've gone with the Calm app, and it's to the point now where I am meditating using these master classes, and it's completely changed my anxiety, my depression, all of these things that I deal with on a regular basis.
Great.
Because an issue that I had run into is I would always take these supplements like 5-HTP, ashwagandha, things like that were designed for to kind of help regulate like anxiety and depression and things like that I deal with. Right. And it destroyed my stomach. Like that was one of the reasons. When we were trying to figure out a time last week.
Yep.
I ended up in the hospital because
I didn't know you were in the hospital. You didn't tell me you went to. Jesus, you okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
You just said you were feeling sick.
Yeah, I mean it was sick enough to end up there.
Fucking hell, man.
but yeah. So I mean that's how bad it got. So I was like, I got to figure out. What's going on with this thing. And I started this meditation thing like a month ago, and I have since completely cut off all those other things, the 5-HTP and the ashwagandha and stuff like that, not knowing if that's what led to, these issues, these actual physical issues. I mean, it may or may not have been that. But I took that out anyway, just in case. And the meditation thing, I'm telling you, it works. Yeah. Like, it's still there, like depression, anxiety, and all that stuff. It's still there, but you learn to deal with it better, and you learn to cope with it better. Yeah. So if you would like to, you can join me on my meditation journey.
I already do it. I just don't talk about it.
Well, how frequently are you doing it?
Every day, every second day, 20 minutes in the morning before I start doing stuff. I'll
see, because I would do it, but I would do it kind of sporadically. Like I would do it. Yeah, I would do it for like a week, and then take a couple of days off.
I have to do it before the kids wake up. I do it specifically so that when the kids wake up, I'm not a fucking madman. Because otherwise, I'm like,
how'd that go?
Yeah, I'm fucking madman. And no, so I've got my little morning. I have a morning routine that's still in flux, but a run. Usually, I try to get a 20 to 30-minute run in as well. But it takes me at least an hour before I start my day to get this routine done. But as a result, I got more energy and efficiency during the day as a whole instead of tanking out at 3 p.m. and then like the whole fucking day. So I can power through till about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and then I just go to bed pretty quickly after that, and then restart again the next day. So yeah, I get it.
Well, that's the one thing that I don't have the luxury of, because I'm up at 3 to get to work. If I spent an hour getting ready, I'd be up at 2 in the morning just to get to work. So what I'm able to do, though, is that I do like a quick 5-minute one before work. That helps. I do another 10-minute one later on in the day. I'm doing like 2, 3, 4 times a day, and it's worked wonders. So if anybody is listening to this and you want some help, hit me and Shim up. I'll give the socials again at the end of the podcast, but you can always hit up Shim. He's over on Twitter. It's at Shimmoore, Shimmoore. You can also hit me up on Instagram. It is at The Real Brandalorian, because I think there's a lot of people out there who want to do something like this or have thought about it, but either because the one thing I've noticed is if you have other people doing it with you, it makes it a lot easier to do it, because you can either talk about it with that person, or you can kind of see where that person is at, maybe get motivation from that person. So if there's anybody out there that needs that motivation for this, because I know for me it's helped drastically, somebody who suffers unfortunately from things like depression and anxiety, it has helped wonders. So if you want to, hit us up. I'll get the socials again at the end. But I do want to get to this Reddit thing.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
Right into this.
Yeah.
So again, the title, without naming it, what movie plot can you describe in a way that sounds like a porno? So I got to skip through some of these because a lot of them got creepy, because like it talks about kids and stuff.
Ew, no.
And it just sounds weird. Okay. But here's the first one for you. So I'm going to read you the description,
and I have to guess. I have to guess the movie.
Guess the movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So here's your first one. A British married couple trying to prepare dozens of cocks for cream pies. Do you want a hint?
Death at a Funeral?
No.
What?
It's claymation.
Oh, say it again.
A British married couple trying to prepare dozens of cocks for cream pies.
Oh, is it Wallace and Gromit?
I think it's the same guy that does it.
Yeah, it's, oh, damn it, I know it. It's on the tip of my fucking tongue. What is it?
Chicken Run.
That's the one. Damn it. Yes, that's it. All right. So hold on a second. Okay, so hold on. So Brandon's going to say the title of a porn, and I've got to guess what the
description.
The description of a porn.
No.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Say it one time, and I'm going to chop this and make a highlight video out of it. So explain it one time, and then I'll cut it right here.
I'm going to give you the description of a movie that sounds like a porno, and then you have to name the movie.
Go.
A group of men destroy an old man's ring.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. There you go. You got it. Oh man, see, I have like a
ding?
Like a ding bell.
We need a ding.
I do at the radio station. I don't hear. I wish I had that. So ding 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 ding. Yeah, there you go. Let me move on to the next one here. Oh, good Lord, there's a ton of these things.
That's what she said.
Next description.
Yeah.
Teen swings all across the city.
Spider-Man.
Ding 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 ding. There you go. Spider-Man swings
Awesome.
across the city.
Okay.
Sweaty Russian muscle boy gets dominated by sassy Italian.
Oh, one more time. Say it again.
Sweaty Russian muscle boy gets dominated by sassy Italian.
I want to say, no, it's not Pumping Iron, that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, is it? It's Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the film, right? Is that it? Can you give me a hint? Is it Arnold?
Schwarzenegger is not.
Oh,
no, but
okay.
think of the other big action star from around that same timeline as Schwarzenegger.
Still.
Sweaty
Rocky.
Russian.
Rocky. Which one is it? Is it 4 or 5? 4. Oh, I got it. Rocky 4.
And, yeah, the one with
Dolph Lundgren. Yeah. This is fun. Go again.
Kate Winslet goes down and gets soaking wet.
Oh, Titanic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good Lord. I got to skip this because some of these, like, you're not going to know. It's just really odd ones. Here we go.
Odd one.
4 horny teenagers make a pact to lose their virginity by the end of the
American Pie.
American Pie.
I knew it before. I
is,
knew one of them was going to be American Pie before you even started. Yeah.
The funny thing is, the first person who responded to this guy's description, he's like, that is a porno. Like, that's the plot line of like probably thousands of pornos
yes,
out there.
that's why I knew American Pie was going to be one of them.
Good Lord. Old man tries to destroy young boy with the most powerful wand of the world.
Old man tries to destroy you. That sounds like Lord of the Rings again.
No.
Oh, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah,
ding,
okay,
ding.
cool. Good, I'm getting a good strike rate on this. Yeah, yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's the next one. So these are descriptions of real movies that make it sound like a porno.
Yeah.
And Shim has to guess the title. A New York fireman must vow to give his life and body to that of a colleague just so he can gather enough money to feed his family. Watch as they grab their hoses and straddle their emotions, each other in a whirlwind of complicated feelings.
I have no idea that is the longest porno title ever.
No, it's
Porno
not a
description,
title. It's
porno
a
description. I know, a porno description, but that was a long one. That's what she said. Okay, I bet I could get this. Try it one more time. I bet I can get this.
A New York fireman must vow to give his life and body to that of a colleague, just so he can gather enough money to feed his family. Watch as they grab their hoses and straddle their emotions in a whirlwind of complicated
I don't
feelings.
think I've seen this movie. Have I? I don't think I have. What is it?
I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
No,
Adam Sandler.
No, haven't seen that one. Haven't seen that one.
And Kevin James.
Is there one for Die Hard?
There's got to be
There's
one.
got to be one. I was expecting the first couple was going to be Die Hard.
There's like we could think of one. It have to do with the tower.
Yeah, I know. Something. I mean, there's like
and like when he's hiding out in the shafts, like there's got to be something. He's hiding out inside another man's shaft.
He blows up a German's, fucking whatever, fucking something about how it blows up in his face. I don't know. There's some dope shit.
Real quick side note here is before we wrap up this episode. Did you ever see Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler?
No, I've heard it's great. Is it good?
Man, I got to tell you, we finally watched it last weekend, and it is a really good movie.
Okay.
As in, like, I mean, I highly recommend it, but be prepared to feel uncomfortable. Because it causes stress. The beginning of the movie, it's so like fast.
Right. Awesome.
And you know how with the movie, it's focusing on one person talking, so you can understand the conversation and you're following it around. But it does a phenomenal job of kind of showing you how hectic Adam Sandler's character's life is, where he's dealing with all these different things, and it's everybody's talking at once, and you kind of pick up on the conversation, and then you hear this over here, and it's just, I watched it and I felt so uncomfortable.
Right.
But
he doesn't
blew me away of how good it was.
Does he do an amazing job as an actor?
Oh, Adam Sandler's great in it.
Yeah.
He should have gotten at least nominated for an Academy Award.
Yeah, like I actually had a friend who acted in a film with him that most people haven't seen. I think it's called Rain on Me. Have you seen it?
Rain on
Dude, it is the most amazing film. You got to watch it. All right, I'm gonna watch Uncut Gems, and you need to watch Rain on Me.
Rain on Me.
Yeah, or I think it's Rain on. I think it's Rain on Me. It's off a what's the boss? Bruce Springsteen. One of his songs, Rain on Me. It's based off.
The boss?
Yeah, that's what they call him, the boss. I forget his name. I always get Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen mixed up because I discovered them on the same day and listened to the albums on the same day, and I always mix them up in my head. Anyway, it's a story about a guy who loses his wife and 3 children in the plane that hit on 9/11, and he's
is Don Cheadle in that?
Yes,
is he the other guy that's in it? Okay.
Yes, and his performance in that is fucking shot. That's when everyone I think the problem with the movie was that it was so depressing and real. It's a beautiful film. It's really beautiful, but it was that thing where every comedic actor tries to break into dramatic. Jim Carrey was the biggest story of he's a very talented actor, and no one can not see him as Ace Ventura or The Mask anymore. They just can't let him be that way. Adam Sandler broke the fucking wall down in that film where people just put up their hands and went, okay, you're just that good. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in some pretty good movies. Like, I've never seen it. I heard Spanglish is really good.
Spanglish is amazing. He's a better dramatic actor than he is a comedian. He just got famous as a comedian first. He is a better dramatic actor.
I don't know. Remember his what was the name of the special on Netflix?
His stand-up
Certified
special?
Fresh?
Yeah, his stand-up special. I didn't think that was fine. Brilliant. It was funny and it was brilliant, but in terms of being a dramatic actor, I mean, trust me, and as a dramatic actor, a person who knows this craft, I would say he's more talented at dramatic than comedy, and most comedians are. because the reason that you're drawn to doing stand-up comedy, people who do
You're a
stand-up
little fucked in
comedy,
the head.
they are fucked up in the head. They are dark, depressed, really messed up individuals, and they alchemize it into comedy. And if they can channel it into dramatic acting, like here's the thing, Jim Carrey is an amazing dramatic actor. It's just our problem we can't see him that way because he had such massive success being...
I mean, I can see him in some of those other roles. But I mean, he's also been in some stinkers. Like he's been in some clunky movies that really weren't that good.
But that's my point. He tried so hard to cross over to be a dramatic actor that he picked roles that just weren't right for him because he could. He did that.
I don't know. What would you think of Man on the Moon?
Man on the Moon was genius, but that wasn't really. That was a dramatic role where he was portraying a comedic actor. So it's kind of it blurs the lines. Whereas if you see number 24 or 23.
23, I think it is, yeah.
That one I couldn't even get through because I was like, this is just, you are so dark and so much, you're trying to break the mold. You're trying to do what Adam Sandler did. And he's playing like a dark, twisted, insomniac, like I'm out of my mind kind of guy. And it's like, when you're Jim Carrey, when you're that big, you've got to take us through the journey. You've got to go through like Truman Show, perfect start, perfect beginning, and then do a couple of supporting roles. Do a couple of supporting roles where you're a secondary character in a really dramatic film. The fact that what's the guy who does Big Mama? The black guy who owns like half of the South because he owns these massive productions. Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry. He's moving into dramatic films, and he's like the quintessential. Like he's just like his characters are a joke onto themselves. They're funny, but you can't look at him the same way once you see that. He's been taking smaller roles in amazing films and starting to branch out, and it's working because he's making the right choices. He's doing it correctly. And so Adam Sandler did it correctly, and Jim Carrey just didn't. He didn't do it.
Well, if you want to talk about the ultimate comedian who did that jump properly,
let me guess.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, Robin Williams.
That's the guy. Which, by the way, so we got to wrap up this podcast. I have two more movies I'm going to describe here, but really quickly. Okay, we were cruising around in the car, and we were listening to the Good Morning Vietnam soundtrack.
Yeah.
And so it has the clips from Robin Williams as Adrian Cronauer. So it's got him being the radio DJ and just how goofy he was and wacky he was. My kid was smart enough. She picked up on the fact that that was the same guy that voiced the genie. Oh. Like we're listening to it. He's awesome. Like, "Good morning, Vietnam." Yeah. He's doing the whole spiel, and out of nowhere, it goes into one of the songs, and all of a sudden my kid goes, "Is that the genie?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "Yeah, like good call. Like that was really great that you picked up on that." All right, two more movies here. I'm going to give you the descriptions, and you're going to tell me what movie it is based on this description that makes it sound like a porno movie.
Okay.
Masked man enjoys sticking things in nubile teenagers.
What? Masked man enjoys sticking things in nubile teenagers. Is it Scream?
Yeah, it's any of those. It could be Friday the 13th.
I was going to say, it's basically any horror movie of the 90s.
Yeah, where a dude's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
All right, final one that we have on here is black dude ends up getting anally raped by a racist cop while a redneck watches and masturbates. Guy who's being attended to by a gimp breaks loose and penetrates
Pulp
the
Fiction.
redneck with his sword. There you go. Ding, 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 ding. That one was a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah.
I should have ended with
that. Was like, you're just basically playing out that scene.
That's exactly
you
what
just
that
read the
scene
script.
is.
Yeah. All right. Awesome, man. Dude, well, look, it's been really good to see you again and hang out. I'm sorry we missed last week. Apologies to all of the listeners that we missed last week. But as everyone knows, the pandemic is shaking up everyone's lives. So we're going to be here on the regular. And we'll be seeing you next week. And as always, I'm on the Twitch stream at The Hollywood Rebellion, twitch.tv/The Hollywood Rebellion. I'm just learning that now. And Brandon, what's the rest of them?
So if you want to get a hold of Shim, you can find him over on Twitter. It is at Shimmoore, SHIMMOORE. You can find me over on Instagram. It is at The Real Brandalorian. If you ever have a topic or a question or anything that you want brought up in an episode of Rockstar 101, feel free to hit us up. Also, if you want to talk to Shim about meditating or talk to me about meditating, you are more than welcome to do that as well. Again, it's at Shimmoore, SHIMMOORE over on Twitter, and at The Real Brandalorian over on Instagram. On that note, his name is Shim. He is the rock star.
His name is Brandon. He is the DJ.
Class dismissed.